The SCP Foundation database is classified. Proceeding without clearance is prohibited. Please enter Foundation credentials. Credentials accepted. Welcome.
Begin audio log. Item number SCP-004. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. When handling items SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13, proper procedure is vital. The items are not permitted to be moved off-site unless accompanied by 2 Level 4 security personnel. Under no circumstances should any other component of SCP-004 be taken through SCP-004-1. The effects of doing so are as of yet unknown, and the current cost of experimentation makes further research impractical. Should any objects contained within SCP-004-1 breach containment, or the facility be breached, the keys must be brought inside and the door closed prior to activation of Site-62's on-site warhead. Unauthorized removal of keys from the testing area is grounds for immediate termination. Level 1 clearance is required for basic access to SCP-004-1. Level 4 clearance is required for use of SCP-004-2 to 13. Item description: SCP-004 consists of an old wooden barn door, SCP-004-1, and a set of 12 rusted steel keys, SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13. The door itself is the entrance to an abandoned factory in
Data expunged.
Chronological history. 07-02-1949. A group of 3 juveniles trespassing on federal property near
Redacted.
Find the door. According to their testimony, they found a set of rusted keys in an iron lockbox and determined what door the keys unlocked. The juveniles are taken into custody after they contact Sheriff
Redacted.
when one of their friends, SCP-004-CAS-01, goes missing. 07/03/1949. Local authorities find the severed right hand of SCP-004-CAS-01, 8 kilometers from SCP-004-1. Other parts of SCP-004-CAS-01 body are found scattered as far as 32 kilometers from the factory. Under interrogation, the apprehended juveniles tell authorities that upon entering the door with one of the keys, SCP-004-CAS-01 was torn into several pieces, each of which disappeared. At this point, the SCP Foundation takes over the investigation. 07/04/1949. SCP Agent
Redacted.
obtains the keys from the local authorities to begin testing. Test shows that SCP-004-2 through SCP-004-13 all fit into a single lock on the large barred door. 12 Class B personnel are assigned to test the effects of the door. Of the 12 test subjects, each trying a different key to enter the room, only 2 survive. Opening the door with any key except SCP-004-7 or SCP-004-12 caused the test subjects to be torn apart into multiple directions. However, no dismembered parts were found until later. At the time of writing, only 2 parts of each subject has been recovered, with exception of the missing SCP-004-
Redacted.
whose piece were scattered in close proximity. The others have, for all intents and purposes, vanished from existence. Of the 2 surviving subjects, only one, having used SCP-004-7, returned unharmed. The other came back in a near catatonic state, only able to remove himself from the room and then collapse on the floor, and had to be restrained to prevent him from gouging out his eyes. See Appendix A, Mental Health Effects of SCP-004. The subject using SCP-004-7 said that he had entered a large room, impossibly big for the size of the attached building. After his exit, SCP-004-1 was propped open and an armed squad of Level 3 personnel entered. The size of the room is impossible to measure, and the door frame and the individuals in the room are the only part of the room that can be felt or illuminated. 07/16/1949. The juvenile suspects and sheriff
Redacted.
are terminated. 08/02/1949
Redacted.
is declared a hazardous area due to unexploded ordnance and fences erected in order to prevent civilian ingress. Tests to determine safety of exposure to environment behind SCP-004-1 begin. 12/01/1950. Space anomalies resulting from exposure to SCP-004 are confirmed. Testing is suspended until further notice. 07/02/19.
Redacted.
The unaccounted for remains of SCP-004/CAS-01 appear unexpectedly outside SCP-004-1. Despite being killed decades before, the remains of SCP-004-CAS-01 are not decomposed in any matter and are still warm to the touch. Blood remains uncoagulated. The remains are remanded for testing. 07/04/19.
Redacted.
The unaccounted for remains of one of the 12 original test subjects appear in similar manner to those of SCP-004-CAS-01. The remains have been designated SCP-004-CAS-02. Records suggest that both SCP-004-CAS-01 and CAS-02 used SCP-004
Redacted.
03/21/1999. With the massive proliferation of nuclear weapons and World War III only
Redacted.
years away, construction has begun on a site inside SCP-004-1. The site is to stock supplies for
Redacted.
person days. 04/21/1999
Redacted.
has ordered the site inside SCP-004-1 to be expanded to include emergency storage for all mobile SCP
Redacted.
specimens and a
Redacted.
petabyte database for all the storage of all SCP data. The facility is now referred to as Site 62. 09/25/2000. Site 62 is operational. Labs and containment units are complete and can contain the most dangerous specimens. Backup of the SCP database has begun. 01/25/2001. Due to time anomalies, see space-time anomalies below. All personnel working at Site 62 are now required to reside on-site permanently. Families of personnel are to be informed that loved ones perished in an industrial accident. Cloned bodies have been prepared for the funeral. 08/14/2003. Massive power outage across northeast United States and through Canada. Due to the initial failure of multiple SCP generators, Site 62 was without power for 53 minutes. During those 53 minutes, those on site were completely without any source of light. They reported sensing creatures and people, although no abnormal entities could be seen or felt. Selected facility personnel were allowed to read
Redacted.
Appendix A, and said the creatures sensed were of humanoid size but otherwise similar to the massive green creature described. Space-time anomalies. SCP-004 seems to propagate spatio-temporal anomalies. Personnel leaving the facility report losing time. Those who have been in site for weeks insist they had only been in the facility for several days, and records of work completed and supplies consumed support their claims. Other temporal anomalies involve SCP-004-2 through 13, especially the reappearance of SCP-004-CAS-01 and SCP-004-CAS-02, exactly
Redacted.
years after using SCP-004
Redacted. Redacted.
has been assigned to investigate all aspects of these time anomalies. Spatial anomalies include the impossibly large dimensions of the area opened by SCP-004-7. Similarly, the 2003 blackout incident suggests that there exists an alternate plane of existence within the same place as Site-62. Additional notes. Testing on SCP-004 reveals that 10 of the keys open SCP-004-1 on a dimension where the laws of physics and topology are significantly different than those of our home dimension. Test subjects meeting these hostile conditions are torn apart, their bodies deposited in various locations, only 3 of which have been verified to be on Earth. Material deposited at 2 of these points appears immediately. Material deposited at the 3rd appears exactly
Redacted.
years into the future. The other 7 locations are currently unknown. Current tests focuses on 2 avenues of research. The first is finding ways to survive SCP-004's hostile topologies. The second
Data expunged.
suggests that SCP-004-2 through 13 may open doors other than SCP-004-1. Appendix A. Mental health effects of SCP-004-12. All Class D personnel using SCP-004-12 return in a catatonic state, unable to speak. Some may have enough energy left to try to claw out their eyes. Of the 16 subjects, only 4 have survived. Only 1 has regained speech following long-term psychotherapy. He was able to tell the psychiatrist that he saw a massive green creature so large that much of its body extended beyond its field of view. He reported innate fear and sudden recognition, as if it was something buried deep in his primal fears, and forced implantation of incomprehensible memories. Subjects displays acute anterograde and retrograde amnesia. Appendix B. Additional information. Item number SCP-004-14. Data discovery 09/02/1950. Origin of object. Object was discovered elsewhere in factory area in previously undiscovered manager's office. Item description. Object appears as large, unvarnished wooden box. The box may be unlocked by the safe key, SCP-004-7, as well as 5 of the unsafe keys. See document SCP-004-1. Upon unlocking SCP-004-14 with SCP-004-7, the box opens automatically on hinges. The volume of the space inside is precisely 5 times greater than the outer dimensions imply. Items placed within while the lid remains open do not affect the weight or any other properties of the box. When the lid is closed and locked, however, all items inside vanish irretrievably. Personnel locked inside the box are also irretrievable, although losing personnel in this fashion appears to affect significantly the dreams experienced by.
Data expunged.
Thank you for listening to this SCP audio file, brought to you by researcher Taig. If you enjoyed this reading, please subscribe and be ready for more SCP files in the future.